Redirecting. That wasn't what I intended to do, though. Okay, let's get out of that. And let's get out of this. There, this is what I want to get to, but I did not expect it to open up. And I need to see Amber. Okay. Okay, everybody's coming in nice and slowly, but the important thing is that you keep coming in. What I'm going to do, because now we have a slight majority of you, good evening and welcome to September 28th. This is listed as our sixth session or our sixth week, but as we all know, Labor Day week was not an actual session, but we're just numbering them as we go along. And here is a area, and I'm hoping it's popping up on the screen. Do you guys see that?
No.
Oh,
You do
No.
not. You do not see that. Okay, that's not good. How do I get that back on the screen? Share screen. That's the way it's got to be done. Share. How about now? Can you
Yes.
see?
yes.
Can you
Yes.
see Superior Court of California?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was important. I do need to know when somebody's in the waiting room. There's a way we can change that so you guys can come directly in, but I haven't figured it out yet. With a little bit of advice, I'll figure it out. Okay. All right. So what's important here is we got to walk through this. I don't know how many people have done that already. Maybe with another professor, or you're working at a firm that has walked you through that. But this is an important thing if you're going to be practicing as a paralegal in San Diego County. You need to know this pretty well, let's put it that way. Okay, so we're at the homepage of the Superior Court of California, County of San Diego. That's what this is. This is when you, I got Vanessa coming in. So when your boss or you yourself are looking for a case for a client, say, and you want to get the client to get some information off the court site, or you yourself want to get information off the court site, this is where you go to. And notice that like so many websites, and especially what should I say, government-based or agency-based websites, they're very much interested in talking to you right off the bat about COVID-19 and the court information. So over here, COVID-19 says the court is now open for most business operations. Notice it says most, not all. Okay, I'm admitting Dulce. And court hearings are limited to video or telephone conferences only. Click here for more information. And then over here too, it says, click here for more information. Let me put this off to the side. Can you guys actually see the participants or not?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Some of them.
Okay, so if I miss somebody who's coming in late and it indicates they're in the wait room, let me know, because we don't want to keep them waiting. All right, so looks like we got both Vanessas, yeah. Good. Good. Amber, Amelia, Brianna, Claudia, Courtney, Dulce, Erendira, Lorena, Maria, Vanessa, Urea, and Alvarez. Yvette, wait a minute. Yvette, are you the one who uses a different name?
I use Yvette.
You do use Yvette.
That's why it has the A, because my first name's Adriana, but I use Yvette.
Ah, okay. I knew there was somebody who had a different first name and used your middle name, right?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good. You're going to be Yvette. All right. So let's just go back up, make sure there's nobody in the waiting room. Good. All right. So what we have here, and I'm kind of curious. Has anybody been to this website already many times or one time? Ever saw this before? Speak
Yeah.
up. Vic.
I use the register of actions all the time.
Okay, first, Lorena.
Yeah.
You use it all the time?
Yeah.
Okay, I forget, remind me where you're working?
I'm sorry.
Where are you working that requires you to use it all the time?
I use the register of actions to check because I work in unlawful detainers. So I pull up the cases.
So when you say register of actions, you're referring to this area
Right.
here. Okay. All right. So for the most part, you know your way around this site, I take it. In
Correct.
case you needed to know something else. All right. Somebody else said that they were familiar with this. Two people spoke of.
I
Who
use
else?
register of actions as well.
Who's that?
Vanessa, Lea.
Urea?
Yeah.
Where are you working again?
I'm with Araceli. Remember Tovar? We do probates, wills, estates.
Yes, of course. Especially for the probate cases, right? That's what
Yes.
Okay, good. Anybody else?
I mean, if you want to be nosing around, you can always look up cases. You can look up your own. I mean, I've been look up information like on my case that I've had. If I need a case number and I don't have it on handy, you can look it up in here. And I'll bring it up. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
The probate examiner notes too. I use that a lot.
right. That's Araceli, right? That's for Araceli.
Yes.
Mhm.
Download forms.
Okay. All right, then maybe this is going to be kind of old hat for you two because you've been at it for a while. But have you had an opportunity to review different areas in this website, or have you kind of just focused on what you need for probate or unlawful detainers?
For me, I only use the register of actions, the probate examiner notes, and the court call. I don't think I've used anything else. I kind of just have them bookmarked on my desktop too. So
Okay.
it's like a shortcut way.
I've used the family form, the family law forms.
Okay.
I've used the calendar.
The court calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the forms. Okay.
Right.
Good. All right. Well, then that you have some familiarity with it. What I want to do is I want to give an overview to everybody, because if you're going to be like Lorena and Vanessa Urea, and working with the firm, they're going to ask you to become really quite familiar with this, because it really is a very useful tool, actually. And if you look in our chapter 8, there was a reference in chapter 8 to the local Superior Court for the county that you're in. Well, that's where we're at. And we're at the home page here, but there's plenty of things to look at here just so that you become more familiar than anything with what is happening. COVID information. They did all this talking about San Diego County, how it's kind of shut down for the most part, and now rebooting, coming back up. And it is still the situation where the court hearings, for the most part, are being handled remotely by, and it's no longer Zoom, but it's Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is what we're using. We have been using, and pretty soon, I think it's October 1, for probate cases. Vanessa, or, no, who is it? Yeah, Vanessa, you're doing probate, right?
Yes.
And so you know that October 1, you're moving to Microsoft Teams, right?
Yep.
And you're no longer having to do what was very common, very typical for many of the hearings. That was the court call. Court call is being essentially phased out for the most part. It's not, I think you can still use it, but I think that it's no longer favored as of October 1, which is just around the corner, this being the 28th of September. All right. Now, what I'm referring to, by the way, is the means by which you get onto the court site so that you can actually have a hearing conducted. All right. And interestingly enough, one of the first things you do when you're, if the attorney or whoever you're working for says, well, get me into the Microsoft so that I can set up the hearing, and you may be in a family law virtual hearing. You just hit that and you scroll down to family law hearings. But interestingly enough, all these family law hearings cover the entire county. The Central Courthouse, Presiding Department, 1002. If we were in the actual building that's located on Union Street, 1100 Union Street in downtown San Diego, we would go up to the 10th floor and go to 1002, and we would be in Presiding Department. By the same token, if we were in 601, that'd be on the 6th floor, 601, and we would walk into that. Right now, we don't have any of that ability, any of that capability. These are the various departments in downtown San Diego that deal with family law matters. And there are different types of family law matters, by the way. And if you look at it, it goes all the way from up here, Department 1002. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 different departments that handle family law matters. And there's still a backlog. But you know what's created the backlog more than anything else? That is the fact that COVID hit us. We have the coronavirus coming on, and COVID is actually killing people. And this pandemic has set things so far down the road, and we're so far behind on so many things that if you actually get a hearing and you don't get the matter resolved at that hearing, you're going to be in the scenario where you're going to have to wait months, many times months. Yesterday I had a hearing, not yesterday, but what was it, Friday? I think it was. Friday, not even Friday either. Thursday I had a hearing. And in that hearing, the judge set our continued hearing. One of the parties didn't show up, the other side, my guy showed. I showed up for my guy. And the petitioner, who is the wife on the other side, didn't show up. And the judge says, okay, well, we're going to give her a chance to come in. And my earliest hearing is May 7th of 2021. And, he was talking about giving her a chance, a room, some space. So if you look at it, here's late September, and we had to continue it because we couldn't get it resolved. And the party was missing. Judge is sending it down. What is that? 8 months down the road. Well, October, November, yeah, over 8 months down the road. So just be aware that this kind of stuff happens all the time. The North County has its share. Let's see, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 departments that handle family law matters. And then look at this notation here in the North County Regional, Department 34. All hearings in this department will be heard in Central Department 803. Please refer to the Central Department 803 link or conference phone number to join the hearing. Here's what it didn't only happen now, even pre-COVID times, what was happening was in North County, they were setting something for a trial, and these departments simply didn't have enough time to do an all-day or a 2-day trial. And you would go to Department 34 and be referred to Department 803, where then you would be dispersed out to one of these other departments downtown. So North County is in Vista. You had a very complicated divorce, a very complicated set of issues, and the judges in North County said, we don't have time to do that kind of a divorce. You have to go downtown. And that's essentially what happens. You wind up going downtown. And this is just kind of like the placeholder. They say, okay, go to Department 34. They'll send you out to the right department. And 803 is what is the right department now. But theoretically, they could send you to the presiding department in 1002. And that presiding department, most of the presiding departments, whether it's in downtown San Diego, or it's in North County, or South Bay, or East County, most of these departments have most of these courthouses have a presiding department where you're kind of sent to so that the judge there can say, okay, well, let's see where it would be good to send your case out to because of the nature of the case, because of the details that are involved, because of the judge that's available, just a whole slew of factors that kick in to determine where your case actually gets to be sent out to. Then if you look at South Bay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 departments that are handling family law matters. And if you know anything about South Bay, there are a ton, but a whole mess of cases down there that are family law cases in which the litigants are self-represented. They are impropria persona, which means that they're representing themselves. And they oftentimes don't know what they're doing, obviously, because they're not attorneys for the most part. And that being the case, they need to either talk to, if it's available, the family court facilitator's office, if it's available to them, or the judge needs to send it back downtown to Department 803, because it may be very time consuming, very impossible for 4 courtrooms to handle those type of cases that are very time consuming. Same thing happens in East County, 1, 2, 3, 4 departments. If the judges here in departments 5, 6, 7, and 8 can resolve the issue with maybe what's referred to as a long cause hearing, 40 minutes or more, then it gets resolved in one of these departments or one of these departments, or in North County, one of these departments. But if it's going to take a half a day or a day or longer, it may just be sent down to the Central in downtown San Diego. So everything that we're talking about is under that big, huge umbrella that's referred to as the San Diego Superior Court. In and for, the Superior Court in and for the County of San Diego, State of California. It has been referred to as one, if not the biggest, or it's close to being the second biggest court system in the nation. We're up there competing with Los Angeles and competing with New York, I think Manhattan, as being, in a sense, the number of judges, the number of cases, the number of departments, that's where we're competing in San Diego. And so if your case can't be heard right away, do not be surprised. How do you get to this point when you're working on things? I'm kind of curious, let's do something here. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, we can't get into the courtroom very likely because, and I'm trying to, can you guys see that that I clicked to go in? This is what comes up on the screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So when it's your time for the hearing, you'll have the screen, meeting now. This is the microphone of the clerk or the judge. This is your video, your camera, and this is your microphone. And this custom setup, I don't know that it's ever used. I have yet to see it used, okay? And then if I hit join now, I'm gonna get a blank, or somebody's gonna say, hey, what are you doing? The court's closed. And I don't wanna do that because I don't wanna bug anybody. But this is where you go into the hearing. And then all of a sudden, faces start popping up, a bunch of faces, very similar to the faces that you may see on your screen. And down below, you see a list of circles that are representative of the people that are on the call. And usually you have anywhere from 10 people on up. And they're both the attorneys and the litigants, the attorneys' clients. Okay, so now how do we go back? Let's try that. Yeah. All right. Whoops. That's not exactly what I wanted to do, but let's see who's in the waiting room. Guillermo, can you hear me? There you are. Can you hear me okay? Are you with us?
Professor, I'm here now.
Now. Okay. We're going to share the screen of, how did I do that? It's not there right now.
Oh, shoot.
Sure. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, this calls for reading glasses. I'm giving, oh, there's Mark. Mark's coming in too. Alrighty now. This is kind of a roundabout way of getting there, but here we are. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, I brought it back. I'm sorry I lost it. Okay, one of the most recent, and the court news is important also, by the way, one of the most recent ones being the September 24th, where essentially they're saying we're moving from court calls to e-filing. I'm sorry, there are different filings, different means of filing paperwork, pleadings with the court. And this is telling you that ideally by October 1, we'll be in a different system of filing that'll work for both civil cases and probate cases. Okay? And the idea is that you will, it'll make it easier. It'll be, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be less expensive than using the other filing services that are available at this time. Okay. All right. The news like this, court news, has been going on steadily and readily since the coronavirus hit back in March. In March, one of these items of court news was an item that said we will be closing the court for personal in court purposes. And boom, I think that was on March 18th. And everybody was like, what? How do we file? How do we meet the judges? How do we, and the short answer was everything has to go to online. And that's what, kind of for years and years, they talked about doing a whole lot of stuff online. And finally, they were forced. The coronavirus kind of forced the issue and said, okay, let's step up our game here and go online. And that's what this is. This is most of this stuff is going online. But look here, appointments required for all traffic courts. In this scenario, they actually said that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you cannot do that in person. Okay, they should have clarified that and not told us that we had to do that. Let me see something. How do I go back? Okay, you brilliant minds, how do we go back? We'll just go here, that'll do it. That's the easiest. All right, so this being the home page, it has a bunch of different areas where you can move away from the home page. The news and notices, but then this whole breakdown, this whole column here on the left side, judges and departments, the rules of court, accessing court records, different resources. A lot of people are trying to do their own legal matter, and the forms. Forms are really important. Look at this. Here's an Americans with Disability Act form package. This is for people who are disabled and are requesting certain types of relief. Notice that it's under administrative. This area under appeals, you're going to have one of the very first things is going to be the notice of appeal in order to get it moving. There are different notices of appeal for different things. Okay. In your civil case, you're going to have another string of forms that you can refer to. And notice too that it's kind of limited here. You're going through all these petitions, but you know that there's tons and tons of forms that are not here. And I guess Lorena, you must use the landlord-tenant stuff a lot, or not?
I'm sorry?
Do you guys use this landlord-tenant forms a lot?
Well, we have, we use a program called Laya, and that's where we have all our forms saved.
What
So
is
we
the
do
name
the
of
answer,
program?
we do the answers, we do the fee waivers,
Okay.
prejudgment claim.
What
Those are
is
the
the
mostly the
program
ones that
called?
Laya?
Laya?
Yeah, LAWYAW.
Okay, I hadn't heard of that program. Okay, but it's not only for unlawful detainers, is it? Or
No, it has all the forms on there.
oh, okay. Okay.
State, federal, and civil.
Nice. Good. That sounds like a great program. All right. But there are forms that if it's not on that program, you'd have to go to what is called the California Judicial Council website. There's some forms that are not here under civil. There are forms that are not under criminal, etc. All of these categories, they have forms, but in the event that you cannot locate that form, they're going to refer you to the Judicial Council forms. Okay, but look under criminal. I don't know. Are you guys thinking of? Is there anybody here who would like to get into criminal law?
Me,
No, who's me?
Yvette.
Yvette, okay. Yeah,
I just don't
no,
know anything. I have never worked for like or done anything for criminal law, but it interests me. Right now I've been working with attorney, but it's immigration and it doesn't do much of that. What
okay,
criminal does.
okay. This Saturday at 10 a.m., you guys may very well be tied up at that time. I will be having a talk. I call it a legal talk. It's not required. You're welcome to join us. It's going to be on Zoom and other platforms like Facebook and I don't know if it'll be simultaneously. Yeah, I think it's simultaneously on Facebook and also on YouTube. But you need to go to my just look me up, Arizmendi Law Firm, and look up the talk. Um, this would be something of interest to you. Who was it that I just spoke to?
Yvette.
Yvette. Yeah, I was looking for your name here. Uh, Yvette, because the topic, and it's only about a half an hour. If you want to stick around for questions and answers, you can. And you can ask questions. But it's called crimmigration. Crimmigration is important because what is happening nowadays is that so many criminal law matters and immigration law matters are overlapping. And it turns out, too, that what occurs is that there are um, people who get themselves in a little bit of trouble on the criminal law side, and they're trying to immigrate at the same time. So there's a concept that came up of crimmigration that the attorney John Rodriguez, who does practice criminal law and immigration law, can address and talk to uh, with us on this Saturday at 10 a.m. YouTube, Zoom, and what did I tell you? And what else did I do? Facebook. Okay. So if anybody's interested in that and you want to look into that and see what that area of the law is, if anybody wants to move from immigration law to criminal law and want to talk to John Rodriguez about that, that's a ripe opportunity for you to do that. I host the talk. You know, you guys have heard of TED Talks. Well, this may not be as intense as TED Talks, but it certainly is the same idea where we just have a talk. It's basically a Zoom presentation with the other platforms included. And you get that conversation, you get that knowledge about how does criminal law and and immigration law lap over each other, and where do they meet? And this is coming up this Saturday, this coming Saturday. Thought I'd just put in a plug for that. Okay, so this is criminal law. Look at family law. They have taken to the situation. I don't know if any of you are in family law or interested in family law, but notice that they've gone to the practice of doing dissolution judgment packet. And this is a series of forms. Just, they tell you what are the forms in this packet. And it's kind of, excuse me? Somebody trying to talk? Okay. So it tells you that there's a checklist. And if you want to do everything that's needed, it supposedly it's here. Everything you need to get the ball rolling on a dissolution judgment packet. This is towards the end. This is towards the end. But let's go back. What the heck? How come I don't have a function where I can go back on these? Don't know why. But let's try all over again. And we're in forms. It has a dissolution package, and right there is where you should be able to find the petition. Petition for divorce, termination of marriage, or a domestic partnership relationship. And then you can go over here. That's funny. It didn't open up right away. You can log down this way, but you're going through all the forms this way. But these are the forms that you would need to fill out. Here's your petition. Yeah, and just a mini class here on family law. It is amazingly simple to fill out 3 pages of a petition for divorce, and voila, you're in a situation where, boy, I'm getting somebody's divorce arranged for them. When you go to get married, you got to go down to the county administration building and get a package, not a package, but you fill out some documents so that you can get a marriage license. And what is it? Maybe it's up to $50, $60 now to do that. Well, in order to do this, to file this petition, which is also not that complicated, a person can do it without an attorney. This filing fee is $435. So you'd be amazed at how many people say, well, getting a divorce is too expensive. I'm not even going to bother with it. And they just kind of go their separate ways and never finish with their terminating their marriage. But you notice how simple the questions are. When were you married? And are you a resident of San Diego County, California? The date of marriage, the date of separation. Are there minor children? Are there not minor children? Very simple. Look at the grounds for divorce and legal separation. Irreconcilable differences. I had this come up so many times where people, especially people from Mexico, who will say, well, I don't know, he doesn't want to give me the divorce. I'm talking to a woman who was married and says, I don't know what to do. He doesn't want to give me the divorce. I said, you want a divorce? She says, yes. I said, he doesn't want a divorce? Yes. That's what's known as irreconcilable differences. And that's the basis for the divorce. You guys don't see eye to eye on a very important issue, and that is whether the marriage should continue or not. Irreconcilable differences right there. Notice what the grounds are for nullity: incest and bigamy. Okay. And too often the guys who are married twice, they get married to one woman, never get a divorce, get married to another woman. The second woman finds out about the first woman, the first wife, and he says, what, are you saying that's bigamy? That's a bad joke, isn't it? And incest is another grounds. And it depends, because it depends on what the relationship is. Nullity for a voidable marriage. Now, this one here says void marriage. This one says voidable. And not without going into a lot of fine subtleties, you notice that there are differences here as to the grounds for getting a voidable marriage voided or terminated. And physical incapacity. This is another way of a polite way of saying that the persons were not able to consummate or engage in sexual intercourse to consummate the marriage. I actually had one of those type cases many, many years ago. But as you can see, the form is really not that complicated. It's something that if you found yourself in that situation, you might be doing your own divorce, or at least starting it. Okay, the other topic, probate, something that Vanessa's really familiar with. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about probate, because I do probate law. It has to do with wills, estates, and trusts. And you're wondering, well, okay, I understand wills, but what do you mean by estates? And what do you mean by trusts? Without going into too much detail, because that's not what this course is all about. A will is what you sit down and you write and say, when I die, I want my assets to go to these people in this way. Well, you can do the same type of thing with a trust. The advantage of the trust is if you have real property, a house, or any other type of real property, raw land, you can put it into the trust. And when you pass away, the person who's in charge of your trust, who is referred to as a successor trustee, can see that that property, it gets transferred to who you put down in your trust as the person you want it to go to. And you don't have to go to court. If you only have a will, you have to go to court because the judge has to interpret the will. If you have a trust, most of the time you don't have to go to court. Estates are the property of a deceased person who has died and left assets, a house, cars, bank accounts, anything of value in excess of $162,000 is something that will require you to go into the probate court. Guardianships and conservatorships are very similar. The only difference is that a guardianship is for a person who's under the age of 18, and a conservatorship is for a person over the age of 18. And these are for people, the minor or the conservatee cannot take care of themselves. And so the court has to intervene and determine whether the guardian who's asking to be guardian is competent, or the conservator who's asking to be a conservator, looking after their wards, so to speak, are capable and should, under the circumstances. Does the minor need a guardian, or is there a parent? Does the minor need, does the person over 18 years of age, is that person unable to handle their own affairs, or represent a danger to themselves or some member of society? Some of this stuff is self-explanatory, but others, you need to really know more and more about probate to understand these details. And this is not a course on probate. By the same token, it's not a course on juvenile law. But juvenile law is broken up into dependency and, I don't see it here. Do you guys see it? Delinquency? For some reason, I don't see it there. Oh, there it is, right under it. Dependency and delinquency. That's how you break up the juvenile court. And the juvenile court in San Diego County is out there on, what is it called? Kearney Mesa Road, I think, or Kearney Villa Road. You get off Genesee, and then you work your way around. And juvenile court, juvenile hall is out there. And under these type of cases, you're dealing with minors, strictly minors. And in the delinquency area, the minors have done something wrong. They've committed a crime. And in those circumstances, the minor is normally going to have an attorney assigned to them, because usually they do not have the finances to afford to pay for their own attorney. Or in many cases, the parents simply don't have that and can't afford to pay for an attorney. These minors have committed some sort of crime. It can be a misdemeanor, can be a felony, something heavy duty. And, one of my, when I was working in this area with another attorney, what came to me was a Lemon Grove case. Very famous Lemon Grove case that's probably about 20 years old now, 15, 20 years old. let me tell you real quickly about it. I'm not going to go into too many war stories, so don't get scared about, oh, he's going to tell us another war story. But this is a case of three boys ranging from 12 to 13 years of age, and they were all special needs or special, what is it? Special care, special needs, special ed class students. And one of the students got an F and was very angry at his instructor because he didn't feel that he deserved the F. And he told the other two buddies of his who are in the same class, you know what, we just got to take this teacher out. Do you guys have a gun? Well, one of the other guys said, yeah, we have a gun. And a third guy says, yeah, well, let's get the gun and let's just shoot her. You know, but here we are, we're talking about 12, 13-year-old boys who really don't know what they're talking about, who made even one of the most ridiculous things is that they spread it throughout the entire school, telling everybody that that's what they were going to do. And one of the boys had a father who was in the military, who did in fact have a gun. They brought the gun, they brought a clip so that they could actually see that through. They told everybody that it was buried out on the field, and they told everybody where it was, and they were going to get it at the end of the day, and they're going to shoot the teacher. And of course, the whole school found out. The principal got somebody out there to locate the gun. They found the gun, and they called the police, and all three boys were arrested for attempted murder. And so the defense was, you know, and if they get busted on attempted murder as juvies, they go up to California Youth Authority. And the California Youth Authority it might as well be one of the toughest facilities in the state because they're older boys who have committed serious crimes who drag the younger boys who get sent out there into a life of crime, essentially, teaching them how to do things. And they come out of CYA, California Youth Authority, worse than when they went in. So the goal, even though it was pretty clear that they did something wrong, the goal was to not have them sent to CYA. All right, and so I partnered up with an attorney. His name is William Sharp. He's a really sharp character. William Sharp is a sharp attorney. And he represented one of the boys, and each boy had to have their own attorney. When we were in the hearing that was the hearing that in which each one of the attorneys had an opportunity to argue for a lenient sentence against their boys because they were found guilty. William Sharp was selected as the attorney to make the talk, to do the talk. And so he went into his spiel and he said that these are 12, 13-year-old boys who are in special education. You know what? They were thinking cops and robbers. They were thinking cowboys and Indians. They weren't even thinking clearly. They didn't even know what they were doing. It was almost as if they were involved in a video game. And the judge says, "Excuse me, Mr. Sharp, are you telling me that I should be lenient with these boys because they thought they were in a video game?" And Mr. Sharp says back to the judge, "Excuse me, Your Honor. Correct me if I'm wrong." He knew he wasn't. But this is my opportunity to make my points as to why these boys should not be sentenced to CYA without interruption from the court. And you know, in that moment, the courtroom was filled with family members and supporters and interested individuals. And in that moment, you can hear a pin drop, and I mean like a regular pin, not a writing pen. And everybody's wondering, is that right? Is he right? You know, I didn't know criminal law, so I didn't know. is he right, or is the judge going to jump all over him and jump down his throat? And the judge took a second, took a deep breath and says, Mr. Sharp, you're absolutely right. Forgive my interruption. Carry on. Wow. Talk about bulldog. This attorney can be it can and is a real bulldog. And if you ever run into a criminal scenario, you want somebody like that, where you can, you know that they're going to do right by you. Let's jump over to traffic a little bit. And you notice that there's ticket information and traffic school. What most frequently seems to happen in a lot of traffic citations is that if you're found guilty, you're going to ask for traffic school because you don't want your insurance to go up. And that's sometimes, most of the time, people are there without attorneys. There is a Mr. Ticket in town. If you just Google him, he'll represent you for a small amount of money. So these are the areas in which things are broken up. You notice there's a whole topic on jury, whole topic on appeals. And we're only here in the, we're only just off the homepage. And there's a ton of things in which it breaks down. All of this is important for you to be able to move your way around the courthouse as a paralegal, working on behalf of your client and under the instructions of your attorney or law firm, wherever you're working. And you should be able to know this website inside and out and feel comfortable with it, so that you're not the person that says, well, I don't know what to do. Where would I find that? How can I know? And if you look at it here, there's a register of actions for civil cases, civil, small claims, and probate cases. There's a register of action for family law cases. And so these are cases and what's been filed in these cases. Over here, you have the court calendar that tells you what's coming up, what you can find on the court calendar over the next 5 days. Okay, that would be a cumbersome way of trying to find out if a particular case is up for a hearing, because you'd have to go through substantial calendars to find that. So one of the things that can help you get around that is where you go to the Access Court Records. I was thinking there was one that was called Access Cases, but I think this is going to be it. Find case information for most case types and view image documents for limited case types. Posted since 2011. So if you're looking for a case, or let me just double check to see if that's the situation. Yeah. Online case search. Exactly what I was talking about. So you go and you say, well, I know I'm looking for John Doe, and I'm looking for a civil case that John Doe was involved in. And it was in downtown San Diego, and he was the plaintiff. And it was between 1974 and 2020. His last name was Doe, and whoops, that's caps. Excuse me, Doe, and his first name was Sean. Then he hit submit, and then they're asking you if you're human. And then you hit submit. Oh, wait a minute, that was wrong. Then they're going to ask you, okay, please select each image containing a boat. Let's see, this is going to be a boat. This is going to be a boat. And it's going to be a boat, I think. And I'm not sure, but I think that's a boat. And then you hit next. And then skip. Can you skip? No. This is going to be contained in a boat. I just did that. What is going on? Do you guys see a boat here? Are you guys still with me?
In the middle. That, no, in the middle.
Yeah, we're here with you.
In the middle. And not, yeah, and then just next until you stop, until, yeah,
Okay, is there a boat here? I don't see it.
no.
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 Okay. How come it doesn't go?
You just have to continue until it tells you, like, even though
Just hit everything that says
pertaining to boat.
pertaining to boat. Is that a boat? Yeah. Okay,
Very good.
so interestingly enough, I didn't think this would be the case, but you know what? The situation is if you don't know the name of the party or you don't want to reveal the name of the party, you're going to have things like Jane Doe and John Doe. And that's why we have a ton of this. I was thinking that, it wouldn't be that many, but there are. And you notice that the opposing party is anesthesia, and they're named, except for in this case where John Doe went against Jane Doe. And for the most part, and here's another one where John Doe went against Roe 1. Roe, if you recall, there was a case of Roe versus Wade on the abortion case. Well, what happened was Roe was the name of the woman who was claiming that she wanted to, that was the name that was used instead of her real name, claiming that she wanted to get an abortion, and the law prohibited it, and they gave her the name Roe 1 probably. Okay, so you can find the case, and you can go over here, and then it tells you, okay, this was a case. It gives you specifics. It tells you the case name was Doe versus Defendant Doe 1 Parish, and it was a case that was filed on July 1st, 2020, and the file location is can be found under the Register of Action, but it's a San Diego case apparently. I don't see it listed anywhere else. It says case location San Diego. It's okay. It was personal injury or property damage or wrongful death. That's what those things stand for. That's the type of case it is or was. It's probably still pending because it's a July 2020 case, and it was a civil case. All right, and you get that much information. But once you have this case number here, this long case number, you can then take this. Let me see if you need all of that. You probably don't need all of that, but you can copy it. Then you can go to well, I can't go to. It doesn't want to go to. Then you can go over here to Register of Actions in civil cases. And then it says, do you accept the terms that you're not going to steal anything? What represents security here? Probably a key, right? That didn't work. And I don't know why. Okay. Anyway, you go there to the Register of Actions and you get your security. That's pretty weird. What does that look like? Does that look like a safe? That should not be happening. That's very
No,
strange.
you have to press what it's asking you, Mr. Arizmendi. So it said to click on something that resembled a globe. So you could pick like this one says continue the icon that best identifies notes. So hit the music note,
The first,
the first one.
the first one.
I didn't see that down below, yeah. And then if you punch in, I don't know if it's gonna work because I put way too many stuff in there. Yeah, it's not there. I wasn't able to copy it over. But anyway, you punch in the number and you hit search and it gives you the case and what has been filed in the case. Okay? And I can tell you, all of this is public record. You know, you may think, well, I filed a lawsuit, but nobody's going to know about that. If you file a lawsuit, it's going to be here unless you specifically request that the lawsuit be sealed. And those are very special circumstances, usually concerned over minors or concerns over people who are requiring that their anonymity be maintained. Obviously, a judge is going to have to be able to tell you yes or no as to that. Okay. Notice that we still have this long list of everything that you can refer to. This self-help center, it goes back to the age-old concept of, okay, if you have yourself as an attorney, do you have a fool for an attorney? Because even though a lot of the self-help stuff has been helping a lot of people, at some juncture, sometime, a judge might say to a self-help litigant, you really need to get a hold of a lawyer. Because at some juncture, when you really don't know what you're doing, you're not sure about the proper court procedures or even the forms or how to complete the forms, and there's nobody else there to help you, you're really in that scenario. It's an old adage, an old legal adage that says the person who has himself as attorney has a fool for an attorney, and that's because you don't really want to represent yourself if you can avoid it. All right. So I think that's, I think we worked our way around here, and you can see that a lot of it's self-explanatory, but a lot of it too, you may wonder, okay, where am I going? What do I need to do? What rules of court should I follow? And as you can see, there are rules of court that covers the San Diego Superior Court with a breakdown. It can be civil, criminal, probate, family law, juvenile law, appellate courts, or mental health courts issues. And these are all different rules that in its own time, in its own way, also break down to what the rules are individually. So is there a lot of material here? Yeah, there's a lot of material here. Will you need to use it all at one point? Very likely not, because you're going to specialize into a specific area of the law that has to do maybe with civil cases, unlawful detainers. You know, you may find that Lorena type stuff, and the case that where was it Vanessa? Vanessa, were you the ones who's in immigration law? No.
No,
What was it that your area of practice?
we do estate planning and probate.
That's what I wanted to say. Probate, estate planning.
Mhm.
You're gonna find yourself here a lot, and under the subcategories. So it is not. Oh, wait a minute. I'm kind of curious. Probate. Do we have the probate virtual hearings? Yes. Okay. Nice. Nice. I think these can be done this way. Cool. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So, unless you're practicing in one of these areas, you know, let me put it the other way around. If you're not practicing in one of these areas, you may not find any of this very helpful because remember, this is California law It is the San Diego County Courthouse. It's called the Superior Court, and it covers just a whole slew of things, just a number of areas and practice areas, and it is helpful. It is good to know if you're in any of these practice areas: the civil, criminal, family law, probate, juvenile, traffic, appeals under California law. Okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to do with this link, just to make sure that you guys could find yourselves around here without running into trouble. Now the question is, how do I get back to where I want to get back to? I do not have. Ay. Why is that? Why is that? I wonder. I always seem to have to go the long way around. Somebody knows a shorter way around to doing this, please let me know. It's here. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. Quit being so difficult. If I knew a quicker way of doing it, I would. Jeez Louise. Why, I don't know. If anybody knows a quicker way of getting back to where I want to get back to, do not hesitate to let me know.
It's kind of different because we have the student, and yeah, it's different.
Yeah, you have the student one, and I have the attorney one. I mean, the instructor one. Okay, right now would probably be a really good time to take a break if you guys feel you need to grab something to eat or take a break, or otherwise we just keep on going.
I think we can keep on going.
We can keep on going.
Yeah, let's keep on going, Professor Arismendi.
Okay, I just need to check something, make sure I didn't leave anybody out in the waiting room. Guillermo, you're here?
Yes, sir.
Amber?
Yes.
I'm asking
Yes,
if Amber,
Professor, I'm here.
Amelia,
Yes,
Brianna,
I'm here.
Claudia,
Yes, I'm here.
Courtney,
Yeah, I'm here.
Dulce. Dulce,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay. Erendira,
I'm here, Professor.
Lorena,
Here,
Maria,
Here.
Mark. Mark, you got on mute. Okay, Mark.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, good. Vanessa
Which one?
Alvarez,
Here.
Vanessa Urea,
Here.
Yvette,
Here.
Samira. Okay, did you
Here.
guys all go into the chat and say here or present? I would like you guys to do that, please. Take a moment, go into chat. You know how to do that, I hope. I hope I don't have to tell you how to do it. and say you're here. Let me. Do you guys know how to get into chat? I didn't. This is strange. Annotate, remote control, more chat. Yeah, and my computer, it's under the 3 dots off to the extreme left. Okay, so I don't know if that's the same with you guys. And I'm seeing everybody almost. Everybody go into chat and report as being present. That will, I'll have a record. And after doing that, we'll go to the next discussion. I moved us all the way to chapter 12 to get into computerized research. Starting on page 27, I think, of the, does that sound right? Let's double check. It doesn't sound right. It is not right. I think, yeah, it's wrong. That is not the page number. It's after the Iraq chapter, so it's well on its way. And it is actually
103.
on page
103.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I thought I had that computerized research. So you can go to the text and look at that, but in reality, what I, for some reason, we hood it, because of the old book having 7 and 8 close together, we had put those two together, except that when we tried to do the PowerPoint presentation, it got stuck in 7 and 8. And so without realizing how to get all the way down here, other than going through the slides one by one, you see there's the indicator there. Computerized research. All right. This is the chapter we're going to cover. Chapter 12. That's going to be our discussion tonight. And most of you can see that the assignments and the quiz are not posted yet. That's because I don't want you guys to start working on it before you should start working on it. Bernice, can you hear me? Bernice, Juarez?
Yes, Professor, I am here.
Okay, can you just put down in the chat that you're here?
Yes, will do. Thank you.
Okay. Computerized research. Legal 258. Prof. Ruben Arizmendi, whoever that dude is. And it is appropriate that we start right off the get-go with what is Nexus. And it's not, and it's actually changed since this PowerPoint. I think they just either refer to Lexis or something else. And you can go to this search engine, this website, and for those of you who've been around, you should be familiar with this. Can I hear just a voice notation as to how many people are familiar with Lexis? Everybody don't speak up at once. Well, you can speak up at once.
I've used it, but in another class, but I'm not like too familiar with it. This is Yvette.
Yvette, you're real familiar with Lexis?
No, I've used it, but I'm not too familiar with it.
Okay. Well, for those of you who've been around for a while, you should be familiar with it. Isn't there anybody else who's familiar?
I used it in Professor Estolano's computer-assisted legal research class.
you get that. You get that program through
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, we had to do modules in it. Like there were like 13 modules in it, and we had to do with all the modules.
Okay, who is this?
Lorena?
Lorena, and who else?
Amelia?
Amelia? Okay, so you guys are familiar with Lexis, and some people have just gotten some familiarity. Other people have been, how should I say it, immersed in this, what the Lexis program does, and that's okay. Angel, can you hear me? Angel?
Hey there.
You there? Go ahead
Yep,
and
I'm here.
put present or here in the chat so I can know that you're here. So I can count you as present. Did you hear that? Angel?
I just put here in the group chat.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. All right, for those of you who are not familiar with Lexis, you need to know that it's a source of law news. It's a source of all the laws and legal cases that are especially focusing on California because that's where we're concerned with. It can give you biographies and let you know who's who in the legal profession, who are the judges. It can give you so much business information on different entities that are either set up through the fictitious business name statement format, where they're set up through limited liability companies, corporations, anything that is a business that may require a license. All of that can be accomplished by virtue of, it can be located, that is, by using the Lexis program. Some of the things cost money. You know, when, for example, if you wanted to locate somebody because you're thinking of suing them, Lexis is not going to locate that person and not charge you, unless it's a simple fee of saying, oh, you got the name of the person, you got their date of birth, you got their social security, you got something. Well, maybe Lexis will not charge you that much. But all of these things, one of the beauties of the Lexis program, as well as Westlaw, is that it does cover so much. You can accomplish, you can get through this program in its search engine, so much information that it'll help the case that you're working on. That's the idea. The database that offers full text access to news and business and legal information. It's got from the United States Supreme Court decisions from 1790, when the United States Supreme Court was established, all the way to the present. These are legal opinions that the United States Supreme Court issued. It'll have all the federal laws from 1988 to the present. Of course, there were many more laws before then. Some of them have been repealed, have become extinct. They're just not in present practice, so to speak. The codes for all 50 states and territories. Quite frankly, I don't know how many territories we have, but we have a lot of territories that are part of the United States. And apparently people in those territories can vote, like in the Marshall Islands and different parts of the world. So if you have all the codes, you may have most of the cases also that have been initiated in the various states and maybe territories too. So when you get into this program and you're trying to conduct a search, you need to know what these things are, what they're going to do for you. And they're called Lexis terms and connectors. And here's your research help. It's going to be on that page. And they recommend Mozilla Firefox as the what is it? The means by which you enter into Lexis. Okay, so what are the search terms? And, or, within, or, not, not within, all kinds of different ones. It is, the idea here is that if you use more than one word, for example, just Lexis terms and connectors, this and being capitalized and presumably underlined will tell you where, it will bring up those items that actually refer to Lexis terms and connectors, for example. Click here for more information about connector order and priority. So this is a guideline to tell you how you're going to find the information that you need, whether it be a case. More frequently than not, this is used for a case that is very similar to the type of case that you're working on and was assigned to you as a paralegal. And this is going to be the means by which you do your research to find all relevant cases, all relevant codes and statutes to the area that you're inquiring about. And then it tells you what the terms and connectors will do for you. For example, the simple phrase of and, it'll find the documents that contain all such words or phrases linked by the and connector. It does not matter how close or far apart the words or phrases are within the document. Adding and to search generally reduces, not seduces. I'll tell you where my mind is, right? Generally reduces the number of records retrieved. Okay, and so it is an example here, bank and deregulate. So what you're going to find there under that kind of a search is going to be all kinds of things that have to do with deregulation of banks, very likely. And especially under the Trump administration, there'll be a ton of rules and regulations and case law that have to do with this topic, because it was something that that Trump and his administration thought was really important. We don't need to put a lot of tough standards on banks. We want to be able to, as president, to borrow money from the banks and not have to pay them if we can get away with not paying them. The most, and maybe we can diverge a moment here to get some participation. The most recent thing that came out over the weekend, Trump paid $750 in 2018, 2019, yeah, I think that's it, in taxes. $750. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Who
did.
paid more than $750? You don't really have to tell me, but they're saying that most taxpayers paid an average, what, the 11,000 or something, and that's just outrageous. And in 10 or 15 years prior, he paid absolutely no taxes. And this is our what do we call him? Successful billionaire who's making a ton of money, who claims to have paid a bunch of taxes over the years. And so now the question is, if that's the case, why can't you just show us that that's true? Because right now, the New York Times is saying that you didn't pay anything hardly, $750 over the last 50 years. How is that a bunch of taxes? And
sounds like we need to change our tax code.
Yeah, really. We ought to get his tax advisor so we don't have to pay taxes ourselves, But yeah, what's happening is that the man, according to some of his defense, he has over 200 companies, and most of the companies are losing money, and so he gets to write off everything. And he can bring in billions maybe, or millions, but then he turns around and writes off everything. And yeah, is he a fraud? Well, that sure as hell looks that way. Sure as hell looks that way
I
because
like how he expends $70,000 for his hair
oh, you saw
and
this one too, huh?
like $98,000 for the daughter's hair care.
Yeah, I guess her hair is a little bit more expensive than his, right? Ah, geez, yeah, that is pretty outrageous. I think there are a lot of people who are looking at it the way some of the pundits out there are saying, is that he wanted to be president in order to make some money and pay some of his bills by making friends with different leaders in different countries and getting investments that pay out some money to him so that he can cover some of his bills.
But that's illegal.
It is. It's flat out illegal. There's no doubt about it. That's why people are saying, what is, why do we allow ourselves to tolerate this? And the craziest thing is that there are 40% of the population or the voters say, oh, that's okay. He didn't mean it. He's okay.
Yep.
And they're blindly following this guy because they think he's going to solve all their problems. The blue collar worker who's out there making a buck and working really hard trying to make a buck pays a lot more in taxes than Trump does. And the idea, and then at one point early on, he said to Obama before he became president, you should be paying more taxes. You should be ashamed of yourself for not paying taxes. And all along he was not paying taxes himself. But Obama was paying approximately a third of his income for taxes, and somehow that was wrong. Everybody should pay taxes except him, right? He's the only one who can solve all the world's problems. He's the one who's going to put an end to the pandemic, right? And his followers blindly follow him.
Look at Hitler. Hitler, he had blind followers knowing what he was.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. And that's why so many.
I think something to keep in mind when it comes.
Say that again, please.
Yeah. I think like one thing people should keep in mind is that like like whoever mentioned that like that his followers aren't believing the whole like he only paid 750 like since 2016. Like he's had so many like allegations and like attacks on his of some of the scummiest things he did, and it barely left a dent on him really.
Yeah. Now who is that? Who just said that, Angel?
Yeah, it was me that said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That we're in a situation where people are just simply following the steps that Hitler gave, and he's going to continue to deny. He's going to continue to lie. And tonight, I guess I don't know if the debate is going on at this time or not.
It's tomorrow.
Oh, is that tomorrow? Oh, okay.
Tomorrow at 6 or at 5. I'm not sure.
Our time, right?
Yes.
5 our time? Oh, okay. I thought it was tonight. Okay. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see just how many lies they catch him in.
Well, they're going to be supposedly it's going to be live fact checkers on there.
Yeah, I wish they had that, but you know what? The moderators are saying they can't do it. Their job is to ask the questions and see that they're answering the questions, and then look on to the next question and make sure that they're not spending too much time and not giving the other person an opportunity. They're concerned with the format of the debate. They're not concerned with the content of the answers because that's not their job. And they even say, well, guess what? There's going to be a ton of radio and TV people and online people who are going to pull up all the lies and that's going to be on both sides, because Biden might be the better looking candidate right now in terms of doing the right thing, but he too can come up with exaggerations or lies or half truths simply to make his
Oh,
point.
you're right. It is today.
What's that?
It is today.
Oh, it is tonight?
The debate, it is tonight.
Oh, really? I thought
It was at 6.
Oh, it happened? Well, what time did it, was it supposed to go? Just 6 to 7 or something, or what?
I don't know if it's, hold on. I just looked it up on my phone right now. It started at 6 Pacific time.
I think it's on the 29th, which would be tomorrow.
See, what is it? Mine says on the
29th.
The 29th.
Okay, so it is
Mhm.
tomorrow. All right.
Tomorrow, okay. Okay, I don't know if any of you are going to bother to look at that, or if you have the time to look at it with some of your heavy schedules. But the short of it is that it might be just a crazy circus of the guy insulting and offending on one side and telling a bunch of lies, and Biden just trying to block the blows in some way, and that would be unfortunate because it's not a true debate. It's not. I do not perceive that as being a very productive thing. It might just be one crazy circus that that might be a waste of everybody's time to even bother watching.
I'm going to watch it just to see what I want to see what a $70,000 haircut looks like.
That's a good argument. That's a good discussion, right? All right. Yeah, me too. I was thinking of watching it just to, just for the laughs, I guess, because I know that this guy's going to come up with some really crazy stuff, and it could be something that in reality you might see on what is that, Saturday Night Live? That they may do something there and say, okay, look at this debate, and then they just come up with all kinds of crazy stuff themselves. But I wanted to do this this parentheses, because engaging you guys in talks about what's happening, what are legal issues that come up. There are a lot of people who are thinking that if there's some way, if Trump doesn't win, it may be that he's kind of fighting for his life, because he has done so many things that are questionable whether they're legal or not, and he may very well be facing some criminal charges down the road. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Okay, now where we were more appropriately is in the terms and connectors in Lexis, and how we got off to that side was because I talked about bank deregulation, and Trump has done a lot of that, trying to help out big corporations and himself. The term, the expression "and not," taxation and not estate, that means that the search engine should not be pulling up the two words. They want taxation, but they don't want to have anything to do with the state. So make sure that this taxation search result is not going to reference estates or estate. Now, the other thing too here, another search device is finds documents that contains all, some, or any of the words or phrases in the search string. Use this connector to link synonyms, antonyms, alternatives, or abbreviations. Adding a word to a search generally increases the number of records retrieved. Yeah, so if you go with an and not, you're probably limiting your search to a certain degree. When you go with an or, you do have a more expanded search, and may be helpful for you when you do that. Here are some other terms and connectors, and it goes on for 3-4 pages of terms and connectors. I'm not going to go into all of this because what you can see here is that Westlaw also has the same type of thing, slightly different. And if you're in a Lexis program, Lexis search, and you need to get familiarized with this, first of all, most of these search engines, Westlaw and Lexis, afford you the ability to look at their tutorials as to what you should be doing. Here's one thing that but I will go into, and I've got to find it. Let's see. I'm 34 here. Oh, did I do that? Okay. Let's see something. See if I can get it. I don't know if I did that before. Hello. Get out of the way. How come? There it is. Lawyers Association. So, I can't believe well, that's strange. That I did not anticipate. That's not it either. Okay. This is it. This is what I was looking for. Sorry for the mix-up. Did I show you guys this before? Did we go this way?
No.
No.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the problem. For some reason, it wouldn't take. I think I tried this before. Ah, come on. I have to do this. And I'm going to have to do this. And I apologize for you guys seeing all of that.
Mhm.
Elizabeth, where have you been? Elizabeth, are you with us? Okay. I don't hear you, Elizabeth. Oh, I see what's happening. Maybe that's the problem. Let me see. I'll change it afterwards, if it works. Okay, I have to go this way because this is where Fastcase is free. And this is how you can go in, how you can get into this program. And look for something. Fastcase platform, comprehensive coverage, smart and fast results. I have this program and I don't know why it's asking me to do this. I should not have to do this all over again. No, don't make me do this. There's got to be a way around this. Okay. Login. Login. This is wrong. Ah, talk about frustrating. Not cool. Thought I just used it.
No.
It's not letting me do it, and I'm not sure why. I wanted to show you a simple search, and still won't let me do it. Very frustrating. I thought I had this beat, so to speak. Yeah, not going to be able to do it. Give it one last try. So at least I know that none of you guys are going to be able to use it either. Almost done. Almost done. Not right. Not right. Jeez Louise. I cannot believe that this is being such a pain. What? I hit the wrong button, obviously. Okay, let's try this again. Does not work. Please. Very strange. You guys saw me just change my password. It's the password I'm using. It's the password that was given to me. And it still won't let me in. This is not funny. It kicked me out. Not very nice. Okay, guys. All right. So finally, and I apologize for that because usually it doesn't give me that hard of a time to get here. But this is another search engine. You have your Lexus, I mean, you have your other search engines that I was going to think of another one besides
Westlaw.
Westlaw. Yeah, Westlaw. And there's a third one out there that people use. Fastcase is one that, being a member of the California Lawyers Association, I get this free of charge. And I don't know if that's why they gave me such a hard time finding that. But if you did something as simple as Roe versus Wade, you have the citation there. And then you have it goes right to the case, you know. It tells you it's a 71 case, re-argued in 72, decided in 73, gives you the citation for the United States Supreme Court, remember that? And then the Supreme Court citation, lawyer's edition. So you get all three of the citations for Roe versus Wade. A pregnant single woman, Roe, brought us a class action challenging the constitutionality of the Texas criminal abortion laws, which prescribe procuring or attempting an abortion, except on medical advice for the purpose of saving the mother's life. A licensed physician, Halford, who had 2 state abortion prosecutions pending against him, was permitted to intervene. A childless married couple, the Does, the wife not being pregnant, separately attacked the laws, basing basing alleged injury on the future possibilities of contraceptive failure, pregnancy, unpreparedness for parenthood, and impairment of the wife's health. Three-judge district, which consolidated the actions, held that Rowe and Halford and members of their classes had standing to sue and presented justiciable controversies, ruling that declaratory, though not injunctive relief was warranted. The court declared the abortion statutes void as vague and overbroad, infringing those plaintiffs' 9th and 14th Amendment rights. The court ruled the Doe's complaint not justiciable. Appellants directly appealed to this court on the injunctive rulings, and appellee cross-appealed from the district attorney's grant of declaratory relief for Rowe and Halford. In other words, in Roe versus Wade, what you need to know is that not only was there a doctor who had his license on the line because he had performed two illegal, quote unquote, abortions, but Roe herself, the pregnant woman, was there as part of the action. And then the Does were those people who, the women who said, hey, I could get pregnant and I could be in this situation where I need an abortion or want an abortion and I won't be able to get it. And essentially what this portion here, this summary is telling us is that the Does, the ones who said, yeah, I could become pregnant, you don't have a cause of action. You don't belong in this lawsuit. Roe, however, has standing because she's pregnant and she's going to have a birth that she doesn't want, and she wants an abortion. And this is the entire case here. I don't know how many of you have actually taken the time to look at it, but it's all here. Everything that that Roe versus Wade stood for. And the interesting thing is you can go here to something that's called find in a document. Texas abortion, whoops, should be two words, abortion statute. And it should be there, but maybe it's worded differently. Boom. It is evident that the Texas abortion statute infringes that right directly, and that is the right to the abortion. And so this gives you, within the case itself, something more specific that you may want to find. Over here, and that's not what I'm looking for. Where is it? Admit to somebody. Trying to find out share document, highlight terms, delete all selected terms now. Trying to find where we would be able to do a, let's start with browse. Okay, that's not going to be it. And then you, essentially what this is giving you is what are the laws in the different states that perhaps govern this same scenario. And let me see, expert queue, history, bookmarks, alerts, help and support, apps and tools, cloud looking, docket alarm, lost street, connect to TransUnion. That's not what we want. What I'm trying to find is where can we find the cases that followed? And essentially what it's called is shepherdizing. And add this document to your bookmarks. And share document, download document. I thought it was authority. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. This is what we call, and in the PowerPoint presentation that what we were going to be looking at next was something referred to as shepherdizing. Shepherdizing, in essence, is a search for cases that make reference to Roe versus Wade. Obviously, the citation of Roe versus Wade is a reference to the very same case, Roe versus Wade. You can see that these citations are the same as this. But now they're saying, okay, how many negative treatments does it have? And over here, there could be something that was more recent, like a case that said abortion is not legal. And that case, unfortunately, or for better or for worse, is not reported here. However, they are saying that there are citations worth 3,760 of them. And, you know, we can keep going down to 3,760. But here we have a 2015 case, Johnson versus the United States. And it'll tell, and you can go there. And when you go there, you will be able to see if you want to find where does this case talk about Roe versus Wade. And then you put down search, and it should have given you that, but it didn't. Okay, I don't know why it didn't do that, but in any event, it has. It probably supports Roe versus Wade. Let me see. Now, in some way, it references Roe versus Wade. And this is the Johnson versus the United States. This, however, is a criminal case, and it has to do with felony possession of a firearm. And exactly why Roe versus Wade is used in here, it's because Roe is here. And somewhere, and they probably picked up on Roe. And Roe is a very common phrase. Okay, let's go back to the authorities. Negative treatment. Let's find a case, a recent case on it. That would be good. Like a July 2020 case. Nerve, I don't know. Let me see if this is the one that I'm thinking about. That actually does talk about abortion. Okay, let's go down. Oh no, this was the Boston, Manhattan terrorist attack where the bombs blew up and the radical jihadists were responsible. Exactly what is happening here under these circumstances, the case is just too common to use Roe. And so you get in all kinds of different things. Let's try another case that is popular. And maybe we'll run into the same problem, but Brown v. Board of Education in Topeka. Do you guys know, who knows what that case was? Don't speak up all at once. Who knows what Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka was?
Ended separate but equal, right?
No, separate but equal was the old case, the one that that Brown versus Board of Equalization and Board of Education moved away from. What this case was, the case that said that all the Brown separate is never equal. Essentially, what this case said. Once you begin the process of segregation, it has its own inertia. It continues on without enforcement. This comment by one expert on segregation in schools succinctly summarizes the state of affairs in Topeka. And as a former de jure segregated school system, Topeka has long labored under the duty to eliminate consequences of its prior state-imposed separation of races. That was the separate but equal concept that was brought about by Ferguson. And of course, Brown versus Education, Board of Education also has negative treatment. and there's the positive treatment or neutral treatment. So if we take a look at the negative treatment, we can see that a plaintiff may prove a school system is racially identifiable by factors that may but need not include student assignment. With respect to causation, the first keys factor, the conduct of the school's authorities needs to be the sole cause of racial segregation. And so you can see that this is moving away from the concept that the Board of Education of Topeka was saying, is that the Ferguson rule that passed in 1886 is out the door. You cannot have separate but equal facilities, equal facilities that are separating blacks from whites, so to speak, as an example, because separate is never equal, is the concept that the Board of Equalization, the Brown versus Board of Equalization came up with. And then this case, People Who Care versus Rockford Board of Equalization tried to tear and whittle away at the Brown case, at the Brown ruling. This, by the same token, the Stanley case also, the key factor applied in apportioning liability on the state is its prominence in education in the state. In other words, if the state is not a key factor in doing this separation of blacks from whites, then maybe Brown doesn't apply, the ruling in Brown here doesn't apply. And so you see, you get negative treatment, and of course it's going to be following the, it's going to be after the Brown case, because the Brown case was decided not really, it was, you got these dates here, but it was decided way back when, I think it was 52 or something like that. Let's go back. Oh, because I went off on a tangent there.
1954.
Different case. It was decided in 52, and then then in 90, 89 and 90, they came up with different concepts. And what they were saying is that we're going to whittle away here at this decision that says that we have to do busing. The thing that was mentioned by Harris. Kamala Harris said that she was bused. And busing was essentially, okay, I'm black, I got to go to a white school, get me a bus to take me there. And that was, and there were cases that kept fighting it, even though it was a decision that
Can
was
you give me
made
the
back
tray?
Excuse me? Are you talking to me?
Sorry, no.
Okay, I was going to say, I was going to do the Robert De Niro. You talking to me? Okay, so let's go back. And although this is really quite striking where it says 1989, it wasn't decided back then. It was decided back in 1952. So this may be the wrong Brown versus
Brown versus Topeka was decided in 1954.
54, right? I don't know why this one has a 1989 date. What we can do is Brown v. Board. And here it is. I got the wrong one is what happened. And so in 1954, this decision was made. And this is the one that if we go back to look at authority, we can see there's been no negative treatment of that because it was solid law. Wow. See which cases cite this document negatively. And as it turns out, 0 cases. But 2,220 cases cited it, and this list just keeps going and going and going, kind of like the Eveready battery. I mean, rabbit, whatever that is, just keeps going. And you can see that there was case law that supported Brown in 91, in 85, and 94. And there are different cases, different scenarios that just came to essentially the same conclusion. Look at this one. Pyler versus Doe, Texas versus certain named and unnamed undocumented alien children. So back in 82, and it's still a problem today, there are people talking about whether school children should have an education or not. Just flat out inappropriate. And so when you find a case, a well-known case like Brown versus Board of Education, you're going to find out that there's a ton of cases that reference this case, and they cite these citations saying that, well, as it was held in the Brown case, busing to accomplish an avoidance of segregation, avoidance of the concept of Ferguson versus Plessy, separate but equal, separate is never equal. That concept is going to be cited here together as a citation of the Brown case. Now, those are famous cases. What happens if we want to look up something? Give me something to look up, something that you'd like to see if there's a case addressing it. Somebody just shout out something. How'd you get out? Dulce, how did you get out? Did you get knocked out? You're back in, right, Dulce?
Just any random topic, Professor?
Okay, what I'd like to know is a legal scenario where you would like to see whether there's a law or case that has addressed that scenario. Come up with, almost anything, really.
What about like assisted suicide?
Assisted suicide, okay. So what we would type in is assisted, and we would probably put in and suicide. We could do it that way, or we can just do assisted suicide. Let's see what happens if we do it this way. 19,333 cases.
A lot.
So is it, the New York bar? Just a whole ton of different cases. If we did assisted suicide and California search, we should be able to bring it down a little. It was 19,000, now it's 10,000. How about if we brought it what if we put down San Diego? See if we can get a San Diego case. And hello, run your search. It brought it down to 2,262 cases. And look at this, People versus Bradford. That would be a criminal law case. So notice that what they're doing here is they're sending us to another type of search engine here, and it's called Hein Online. And presumably we'll be able to get to different cases going through there. This is a case right here. It's a 97 case. But remember, the law didn't happen until relatively recently. And in this case, Bonnie H., In re Bonnie H. In this bizarre murder case resembling an episode out of The Streets of San Francisco, remember that old TV show, we hold that there's no public policy reason a good faith break in a minor's custody should not dissipate the prophylactic rule of Edwards v. Arizona. Once a suspect asserts his or her Fifth Amendment right to counsel during custodial interrogation, current questioning, and any other further questioning initiated by the police about the current or any other offense must cease until counsel is present. That being the case, this case must have had something to do with somebody assisting in a suicide, and the person was immediately thrown into jail or something, or arrested for the assistance of that suicide. Wait a minute. Several San Francisco police officers testified about circumstances leading to Bonnie's first custodial interrogation. Police sergeant at the mission station had received a tip about a suicide at Dolores Church, went there and found Bonnie and Martin sleeping on mattresses in an abandoned church. He detained them for trespassing and they were transported to mission station. At the station, Bonnie was interviewed by Fagan and Inspector Michael Johnson about the reported suicide in the church. Bonnie was not ready for rights. Okay, there was a purported suicide, and this issue came down as an issue of a failure to protect Bonnie's right to not testify against herself. Okay, so that wasn't exactly an assisted suicide scenario. The limited role comparative analysis, San Diego Law Review of suicide rates among inmates on death row and the correlation of suicide. There has been a lot of cases. There have been a lot of discussion about these type of cases where people are on death row and the waiting is driving them crazy, and they decide to just simply commit suicide. And sometimes somebody has to help them with that. Now here's something maybe a little bit closer to what we were looking for. Legality of physician-assisted suicide. Let's see. No, that's not it. And what year was this? This is 97 also. That's not right. There is, if we did something like California assisted suicide law. I didn't even spell out assisted suicide. Assisted suicide. Assisted's not even spelled right. Because we know that there was a proposition that authorized that. And you didn't have to put the ands in there. And what you get is comments, the right to die. That's the 2018 law. The 2000 comment, removing residency requirements. Where did I put it? In any event, if you zero in your search, that's the point. If you zero in your search to the new proposition, you're going to have a honing into what you may actually be looking for. Is it legal to have physician-assisted suicide in the state of California? That could be your question. Okay, let's look at that. Is it legal to have, whoops, what the heck was that? to have a oops, damn it, physician-assisted suicide. In California. Is it, forgot it, is it legal to have a physician-assisted suicide in California? Okay, ta-da. See what happens. 0. And here's what happened. We did not make any connectors. Okay. And so what we might do in order to get to what we want is shorten the search. Interesting. This is, and try that and see if we get anything, and we don't. And why? No.
It might be under death with dignity because I think here in California they call them either death with dignity laws or something similar.
Let's try that. Oh, I think I misspelled position too. Oh, I don't want caps. Okay, let's give that a shot. Oh my goodness, 42,000. This goes way before the proposition. What if we put 2018? What happens? Okay. Oregon and Washington and the District of Columbia titled their physician-assisted suicide laws as Death with Dignity Acts, while California elected End of Life Option Act. Guess what? That's what we should be calling it. End of Life Option. Holy crud, 187,000, excuse me, 187,000 views. What did you want to know about it? Something in 2020?
Well, I know that there had been a story about a woman, I can't remember her name right now, that she was here, she was from California, and she was very ill. I can't remember if she had a terminal illness or not, but she wanted to do assisted suicide with her physician here, and they told her she couldn't do it. So she ended up going to, I believe it was Oregon, and they allowed her to just do it there. She basically went over there, set up shop somewhere, and a physician prescribed the medication to her, and she was able to do it. So I was just kind of wondering if that had changed here. Like, is it as easy? Because Oregon makes it seem like it's very easy to go about doing that if that's your choice. Here, I believe there were certain restrictions, and it kind of kept going back and forth to where Governor Brown had enacted it, and then somebody tried to resend it, and then somebody else brought it back. So I thought it was just, I mean, interesting. If you have a terminal illness and that's your choice, then.
I think that California has recently made it a little more easy to seek out assisted suicide because there's a society in California. I think they have a local chapter here in San Diego as well. It's called the Hemlock Society. and they can connect you with different ways to seek out death with dignity if you're terminal.
Yeah, and look at this reference to Title 12 of the California rules. I don't know what it's called, CCR. There's a reference to this code section regarding veterans. But yeah, there is, it has loosened up somewhat, so to speak. And let's see if this helps us in any way. Development in a developmental center or state operated facility shall receive appropriate, oh, okay. Similar to what I just saw. Okay. Yeah, it has loosened up. And in short, you're going to be able to, if you have this issue come up, let's say that you're working with an attorney who handles this area of the law, and the attorney says, well, I need to know what the status of the law is. Is there in fact a loosening up of the requirements? And in reality, you have to fine tune the search. And that's the way you're going to be able to find, because over here, they're telling you that there's 187,000 references here. And you're not going to go through 187 references, but rather you may, I don't know if this is going to help. We did something like this. It's not even right. I don't know if that's going to help us or not. Let's see. Yeah, it's bringing it down to 28. Now, it may be that 28 is a more reasonable number to go through, and that's all these. You see, we just went through 28 spots, but now you need to read them and get to them and see the meat of it and see if there has been a loosening up or a tightening up of that in California. But I think that what you're going to find is that there's been a loosening up of the requirements, because essentially what we're looking at is we want to be able to be at that stage where people do not have to go to Oregon or the state of Washington or some other place where it's a much easier way of going. That is a drain on these people who much prefer, much prefer having to have everything resolved here more financially within reach. In this case, this law review topic, the winter of 2020, in reality, that's where we're at. So something as current as that, we're not even at the winter of 2020. So I don't know how that, unless they're referring to January, February, March winter. And that would be a very recent case, obviously, recent situation. And you just simply go through them. You go through it, you do your research, you get the most recent stuff that you think are relevant to the question that the client has or that the attorney has assigned to you, so that you can complete it. These, in essence, under Westlaw or under Lexis, you may have a reference to shepherdizing. This, in fast case, is essentially accomplishing the same thing. When you go to a case or you go to a citation, let me find that where we were before, and you go over to the side of the case, or maybe we can just pull up any case for that matter, so that we can see what we're talking about. New York Bar Association, I need the name of a case. Give me a case. There it is. This is going to be a case. I don't know which case, but it's going to be a case. Brown versus Board of Education, okay, the 54 case. So over here, when you want to know what's happened with this case, has it been overruled? Has it been harshly criticized and attacked and whittled away at? Has it been cited favorably by many other cases subsequent to 1954? And then you go over here and you're doing what is called shepherdizing. You see there's no negative treatment, and you see that there's 2,220 cases or references to this. And so this law, you can safely say, is a law that's not really been overturned. It's not been overturned and probably not received any really harsh criticism, because that would have been here. Okay, so back in the slides, going back to the slides of the presentation, we have a whole discussion on shepherdizing. And shepherdizing is essentially this in this search engine. In Lexis, I mean, and in Westlaw, you have another title. It's called shepherdizing. Over here, we call it authority. Okay. Anything else you want to look at? You type in here, you hit the search engine, and depending on how many of citations pop up, you're going to say, oh, I need to narrow the search, or if you get a zero, I get a zero there, you may say, okay, I need to expand the search. I need to do something that's going to give me some more law on this. Okay.
Is there anything that says anything about wearing high heels to work?
Ha! Oh boy.
I've always wanted to make that law.
Prohibition or what? On high heels. Is it two
Like,
words?
are you saying it as a requirement to wear heels to work or not to wear heels to work?
No, I want them banned. They need to be
Yeah,
banned.
prohibition. Prohibition on high heels at work.
That would be
think that's gonna-
Gucci versus the Board of Education.
Yeah, right, huh? Smart women, stupid shoes, and cynical employers. The unlawful and adverse health consequence of sexually discriminatory workplace footwear. Let's see what it says. Not only wore high heels, probably by company rule, at work, but having been drawn into the culture of consumption, walked picket lines in them. Indeed, on the occasion of an impromptu parade in Boston, 1919, striking operators had difficulty keeping up with the parade because of the height of their heels. This is back in 1997, a reference to an older situation. And it doesn't say whether, it does reference that smart women are not wearing stupid shoes, and ideally you don't have cynical employers that require it. But look at this, 5,476 reference to prohibition on high heels at work. I happen to think that here in my law office, high heels is just not needed. I mean, yes, we meet with clients, and yes, many of the clients are old fashioned, and maybe some of the older people say, wow, she's just way too informal. But you know, there's nothing like it for guys. You know, if a guy wears boots with high heels, nobody's going to say anything.
But they have nice dressy flats now that we can wear in a law office situation. I mean, in all honesty, either we're sitting down at a desk or we're running back and forth searching for files and making copies, and sometimes we're on our feet too much that heels just don't make sense, and flats do.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I will add you to my lawsuit.
Yeah, you need to do a class action. You know, and the other thing too is you might want to look at the California Labor Department and see if they actually have a rule that says, unless, I don't know, where could it be required? It could be required, geez, I hate to think of this, but in a strip joint, or a strip,
They require those stilettos. Those are different than high.
yeah, yeah.
It would be miserable if they banned heels and had us in flats.
Yeah.
In all honesty, just personal opinion.
Yeah, and it's again that double standard where what they're not requiring us to do things that that are uncomfortable and even maybe dangerous, or just something that could create difficulties physically. Other than you guys know that to date, judges and other lawyers expect to see their opposing counsel with a tie and a suit. And I've seen many times where attorneys, women attorneys, who wear suits. They wear suits, and there are other women that have haircuts that suggest that maybe they're lesbians. Maybe not. I don't know. Is there a better word for lesbians? I don't want to sound like I'm against somebody, but I've seen that, and I've had this situation where some of these people that are women are in suits, in bow ties, and have come right out and said, I'm gay, and I said, okay, cool.
Professor, some of that is also fashion.
Yeah, and a lot of that can be fashion, obviously, but yeah, know that there's at least 5,476 references in a search. If you are working in an attorney's office who doesn't have Lexis and doesn't have Westlaw, if they're a member of California Lawyers Association, they get this fast case free, and it does the same thing. It does the same thing as Westlaw and Lexis, and the price I can't beat the price, so I use this. All right, guys.
Professor,
Yes.
do you mind if I ask you a question? In one of my other classes, I saw that we could use Nexus Uni. It's a free service for students outside at Southwestern. And I just wanted to ask, one, are you familiar with it? And two, if you are familiar with it, does it compare to Lexis or Westlaw or Fastcase?
Yes.
Because so you are familiar with it.
Yes, I'm familiar with it. I'm getting out of fast case, but deleting everything. I'm familiar with Lexis. It used to be called LexisNexis. It is.
Well, this service it's Nexus. It's called Nexus Uni, and I think it is similar to LexisNexis, but it's free for students.
Okay.
And I just wanted to know if it was similar, because I've never used LexisNexis or Westlaw, so I was wondering how similar it is. So if you go, on your site, on the page that you were just on, the homepage, the Southwestern homepage, and then to the right you see library. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down, and then there's library links and database.
Library homepage. That one.
No, the articles and database. Not this one. Yeah, the other one.
Okay. Hold on. Oops. Faculty home. Articles and databases.
Yes.
And then we scroll down.
Nexus Uni.
See that? It's right there. Formerly LexisNexis Academic. In other words, uni, I think, is short for university, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it used to be LexisNexis Academic. And LexisNexis had the professional and it had its academic. The professional being for attorneys and judges and what have you. When years and years ago, before we had an active participation online, we had something that was called Westlaw, which is still a very vibrant search engine. And Westlaw was kind of like the leader. Then this thing called LexisNexis, an upstart company, came into play. And it catered to attorneys and judges and trying to compete and one up Westlaw. As it turned out, LexisNexis had a LexisNexis Academic for teachers and students, and then it had a professional for judges and attorneys. And now what they did was, rather than call it LexisNexis Academic, they call it Nexus Uni. And let me see something. Can anybody get on here?
I'm on it right now.
You're on it right now. Let's see. What would I have to do to be on it? Enter your date of birth. And let's see. Enter your web advisor, user ID. Oh, geez. For me, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can get away with this. And because you guys all have it free anyway, this doesn't matter, I think. Let me see what happens. Nope, I can't get in. Cannot get in. Oh, and the student ID. Okay. Yeah, I have obviously a faculty ID. All right. Yeah, presumably I can get into that too. So the ID will be your network login username. You can log in, use your network login, use your 7 digits author ID number. Yeah, I have that. I have a 7-digit. So your password is your birthday. Okay, so I can get in there too, and we could have gone that way, and we could have taken a look at that, but it'll be comparable to Fastcase. What it doesn't do that the professional Lexis does is it won't allow you to do those searches for people and for cases and how we're going to serve somebody, for example, with a complaint that you came up. There's certain things that charge money, that cost money, that they just simply won't do. Okay, so let's go back to the module and let me see if we covered this sufficiently in week 6, computer research. I'm sure I kind of went off on a tangent because I wanted to get you into something other than, oh geez, oh, here it is. Other than Lexis or Uni Lexis. Here's the Shepherd stuff that I'm telling you guys about. It tells you which cases support, which cases establish that it's still good law, which cases overturn it. That's the same thing you're going to get under authority with Fastcase. And what did they say this was? Lexis? Yeah, pretty sure this is Lexis. And you'll get the same results with this using the shepherdizing method. So we don't need to go through all this shepherdizing. I essentially showed you the same type of thing, but on Fastcase. Okay. Now, Fastcase may have something available to students. I'm not familiar with that, but you can check into it. Just simply type in Fastcase and Google it. So I don't want to go into two different systems tonight. Just be aware that there are three actually very popular ones. Westlaw, and in our case, we have access to Uni, what is it called? Nexus Uni? And having this ability to get into these, you have no reason to not be able to shepherdize or in the case of Fastcase, cite authority and find out whether the law you have, the code section you have, has follow-up stuff that have either supported that same law or overruled it. And the searches can be very simple. Once you do a search and you get, thousands and thousands of cases that address that, you're going to want to say, no, let's narrow down the search. And there are ways of narrowing down the search, which we tried to do right now with Fastcase. Okay. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, everybody who is here typed in here on the chat. Is that correct?
Yes.
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 Okay. I think that Miss Admin is here. Shalene, are you here with us?
Yes, I am.
Did you get that, the chat?
Yes, I have it.
You have it. Okay. When can they expect their assignments and their quiz?
They will be ready to go tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Okay, somebody's working all night long, right? I'm kidding. We're going to be working all night long. Okay. So you guys, if you go over to assignments, you're going to see that here for week 6, we don't have them yet. And by the same token, if we went to, let's see, to the quizzes.
I have 20 participants, but only 5 people typed here. So I'm missing a couple of people here.
Really?
I should have 18 people type here.
We typed here since like at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, a lot of people typed it in before.
Oh.
Can you look at participants and that way find out?
Yeah, I'll do it that way because I can only see the chat from when I jumped in, not from before.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So we gotta retype it.
That explains. So just go to participants. And okay, so guys, this is, you can use Uni, Nexus Uni, or you can, if you have an ability to get to Westlaw some way, you can use that. If you have the ability to Fastcase, you can use that. They're all 3 very good search engines to be able to find cases, case law, statutory law, even secondary law. And secondary, I'm not sure we talked about secondary because that's actually another chapter. When you get this out, when you get the assignments that you have and the quiz, if you have any questions on that, I need you to let me know right away. Email me right away if it's too confusing. But it's going to be on the material that we covered tonight, and you guys have the ability to go into your grades, right?
Yes.
Each individual, so you know how you're doing. You know how you're doing or how you're not doing. And if you are struggling with something, you've got to let me know. You got to let me know what's the problem. And so, because I don't want anybody at the end of the course say, oh, I shouldn't have gotten that grade. But, all along you're knowing which grade you're getting. So there, you have no real argument there. And all along is when you have an opportunity to correct anything that's going sideways for you. Okay. Any questions on what we covered, what we're going to be covering? Just anything is. Wait a minute. Did we settle that tonight was the debate? Did we agree on that?
Tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Okay. We agreed that it's tomorrow. Okay, good. All right. So if somebody wants to watch it and we comment on it next week, I might want to see some of it myself. And like I said, it's probably going to be good for a few laughs, actually. because this this guy named Trump is just so outlandish and so ridiculous that his some of his statements are going to be, "Oh, you really went there, dude?"
What is it? A drinking, make it a drinking game. Make like take a drink every time he plays the Democrats for something.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost a little bit like a do or dare.
I might say it's better than the Hillary debates back in 2016.
Yeah, I'll bet you it will be. I'll bet you it will be. I think it's going to be really fascinating. But, if you get sick and tired of it because it's just too absurd, I understand. But I would like to talk a little bit about it next Monday, a week from today. What I want to ask you guys is there any objection to adjourning at 8:49 or 8:50? Where are we? 8:50? Or do we need to discuss things until 9:10?
No objection.
No.
You
I'm
have
fine
an
with that. I
objection?
just have one very quick question.
One really quick question. Okay.
Yeah, what is our reading assignment for the week? I'm not clear based on looking at the syllabus and the module.
Yeah, we have to, it's a work in process, that is, because it was supposed to be designed to be a completely 100% online course, and then it fell short, and so now we have to adjust and tweak the syllabus calendar on almost a weekly basis. But what we covered was chapter
12.
12, computerized research, and how to do computerized research. But we also, if you look back on chapter 8, where on page 54, I'm going to put my glasses on to be sure I'm saying the right thing. There's a reference to websites, and then it said court, look at the court in your jurisdiction. Let me get rid of this. I want to.
Okay. Prende el agua, ¿sabes? Ahí voy.
Wait a minute. Where am I going to be able to see you guys, if any? Do I have to go down to Zoom?
Yes. I think you do.
Yeah, I thought I did. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Okay. How do I make that bigger? How do I? No, I don't want that. Oh, there. That's what I had to do. I had to get out of share. But I didn't want that. I just want to see if there's anybody else online here. And how come I don't have any other faces? Did you guys leave already?
No.
No, we're here.
We're here.
I don't see any of you guys. Oh, there you go. I see Mark. And I see Edmund and Amber waved to me. There's something about Amber waves. There's a song or something. Guillermo, I see you. Okay.
Amber
Okay,
waves
guys.
of grain.
Amber waves of grain.
That's what it is. Okay. Guys, what was the question? I forgot it already. Somebody had one question before we left.
What chapter are we supposed to be reading?
Yeah. So if you saw that it was at the end of It was really the last item on chapter 8 and chapter 12. So what we did was we combined 8 and 12 discussions for this evening. It seemed quite appropriate, seemed like it was a good way to go. And that's what I did. So, and then you'll have a quiz focused on that, and you'll have assignments focused on that. All right. Any other questions, comments?
No,
No.
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 Everybody wants to go home?
we're all home.
Or is everybody home? Guys, thanks for sticking with me and sticking out the night. And you guys have a good evening. Take care of yourselves. Be healthy, be safe. And we'll see you next Monday.
Thank you. Likewise.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Thank you, Professor.
Good night.
Night,
Night.
everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.